Thank you, Anusha. Thank you, Vidya. And thanks to the 3AI team for giving us this opportunity to be here to talk about really relevant area, which is tools to accelerate adoption as well as implementation around GenAI. Now, if we start with the context around GenAI, why do we need to adopt it? In the large scale enterprises in today's date, we see that there's a lot of productivity and efficiency issues that we are seeing with respect to the processes. And when we have human like technology coming in the form of Gen AI for assistance, for any sort of help to us, support to us, there we are seeing that we need to adopt. Then what are the tools to adopt that? That is what we are going to discuss right now. And second is about the implementation. Once you are the adopters from the internal employees point of view as well as from the customer's point of view, what does it takes to implement these kind of projects? What tools helps in accelerating that implementation? That is what we are going to touch about. So Ajay represents the consulting and the customization area, and I represent the product and the digital transformation. So we have different perspectives, and that's what make this duologue a bit different, diverse, and interesting for all of you to have takeaways. Now, let me start from the GenAI adoption, which is the first topic for us. That from adoption's point of view, there are majorly two or three areas which we are seeing in the enterprises where tools are being used. First being the productivity and the efficiency improvement. Now, from productivity and efficiency improvement point of view, there are several use cases around which we are seeing different tools. The most important one is being the chat GPTs. Now, enterprise ChatGPT versions allows you to securely access information with the help of your organizational data as well. So that gives you access to intelligence outside of your organization with the help of your organizational data. So that become an important tool for a lot of organizational members. Similarly, if you're looking for enterprise search space, there are a lot of search platforms and tools that are emerging these days. For example, one of them being Perplexity, where you can have a more contextualized answers being available with respect to the domain in which you are working, with respect to the use case with which you are working. So that is really helping you. Similarly, there is another tool which is Glean that has come up with a lot of contextual graph knowledge being embedded into their tool sets, which helps you to bring out all the relevant information from the enterprise data. So that's also another tool that is coming up very fast, and it's covering up a lot of enterprise knowledge in a very contextualized manner. So that has been one of the tools that has been used consistently. But all of these tools, from the productivity efficiency point of view, also demands a faster impact from go-to-market perspective or development side, where we see improvement on the SDLC side, software development lifecycle, where co-pilots are being used very heavily, whether it's Microsoft or at GitHub. A lot of software development components are also getting accelerated with these tools, and that is leading to a lot of faster adoption. But let me go to you, Ajay. From the client's point of view, do you see anything that changes from their perspective, from the adoption point of view, how they are perceiving it from the GenAI technology side?
Yeah, when you talk about the consulting or the AI consulting world, as you said, internally when you are developing GenAI capabilities, you are focusing on the support functions of finance, legal, HR, and how can you leverage the new tech and generate value for these functions. But when you go to the clients, they are looking at the real business value which supports their P&L beyond the support functions, right? So now it becomes tricky there because no one really knows that, okay, how do I convert that business problem of a core engineering group. For example, I work in complex industry of oil and gas. If I have to convert that problem to generative AI, how do I even do that? I mean, like 10 weeks back, I had a meeting and we entered the room and they were like, I don't know what large language model is, right? So that's where you have to start. And then you have to gain their trust and work on the user adoption, because at the same time, you are wasting their time. They don't know what large language model is. All they know about data is data analytics or data science. They don't know that if I can interact in natural language with the system, there is a lack of trust in the system and in the team because they are just new. So you have to work on a lot of frameworks that, okay, how do I bring them on board and let them be part of the development journey as well, so that they gain their trust week over week, and then finally using the tools which are available in the market and a customization layer on top of that, which suits their need, their problem statement, and then push that into production.
Right, right. That's a valid point, that customer adoption as well as technology adoption internally to the organization, both are key for accelerating the GenAI technology adoption. But let's come to the implementation point of view. We see from the software or the application side or the algorithmic side, we have three major areas where tools are being used these days. First being the models part, where whether it's fine tuning, whether it's prompt iterations, whether it is selection of the models, we see that enterprise versions of AWS SageMaker, Bedrocks being taken up very frequently in the space within the enterprises to allow us to experiment more. Then we have Google's Vertex AI, where you have the model gardens available. You have a lot of models being available to you. Similarly, we see that from the orchestration point of view, the open source was LangChain, and now we see a lot of organizations developing their own orchestrator as well. By the way, Deutsche Telekom has also built up their own orchestrator, which is in the form of language model operating system, or LMOS, which is being considered as the base for agents to be created pretty quickly. So that is something that we are also seeing, building and buying things. So buying is available, building is also being taken into consideration. Then apart from models, we see that there are a lot of tools that are being used. For example, there are LLM routers and gateways that are being used. For example, Martian is one of the products which allows you to self-pick LLMs based on their performances, based on the optimizations. You also see that there are a lot of evaluation models and frameworks available from the form of Galileos and Ragas and DeepEval. So these are a lot of tools that are available, but what do we see on the hardware side? I mean, on the software side, we do have a lot of stuff, but what are you seeing from the hardware side?
Yeah, I mean, there is a whole new interest in hardware ever since the generative AI came into the picture, because earlier it was, you could work with a bunch of CPUs or probably some, small quantity of GPUs in there, but now you have vast amount of data, and that's why NVIDIA stocks are like all-time high, because there is a big infrastructure piece around compute, network, and storage you have to figure as individual companies. So what every company was moving towards cloud 4 years back, and everyone is coming back to on-premises now to set up their own infrastructure. And by the way, NVIDIA also came up with a platform called as NVIDIA Enterprise AI, which is specially made for companies at the large scale. How do they host the solutions which Rajan just spoke about? There is 4-layer system, you should all read about it, but then you can do cluster management, you can do server management, essentially providing you that ops layer to manage your models, and as well as hardware. So that creates the layer between, or the conjunction between the hardware and tools. So a lot of things going on the hardware side, very exciting space. And if you are not investing in that space, you should do that too, because that's next big thing. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's a nice piece of advice at the end, so you guys can start investing in these technologies. So thank you, Ajay. I think that concludes our discussion that tools are required for accelerating adoption as well as implementation. You should contextualize those tools as per your use case as well as enterprise data. Plus, you should think about the infrastructure at scale, how to host them and how to deploy them. So thank you very much, all of you, for listening in, and thank you very much, Ajay, for being here.
Thank you.
And have a wonderful evening, all of you.